Hello everyone, welcome back to this session. In this particular video we'll be taking a look at how you can use Git Actions in order to put one repository in the elastic container image, the repository, and how you can use the ECS Fargate option. Okay, so what we will be doing here is that ECS will be creating with AWS console, and it should be of Fargate enabled. Okay, and once the Fargate is enabled, so what we will be doing is here we will be creating up an image definition file, or I can call it as stocks definition. Then we'll be setting up the Git actions, and for selecting up the Git action we need IAM user, and that user should be of satisfying the two parameters, that is the access key and then the secret key, right? So we'll be writing up a YAML file, and and this particular thing, after this we should be creating the ECR, that's the private repo, and we should be taking care of the URI here. Okay, so that's all for the whole step-by-step documentation for the lab, and I will be attaching the link in the description, so for sure you can all check it out, right? So the first step in order to do this particular lab activity, we'll be minimizing this, and I will be opening two particular tabs. So the first tab which I will be opening is the Git, the second will be the AWS one, right? And here what I will be doing, I will be wait a second, so here I will be just creating a new repository, so ECS ECR example, and make sure to keep it in the private. So I will be hitting this particular button called as create private repo and creating a new file. I will be creating a new file called as docker file. Okay, and then I will be copying all the content of docker file and pasting it here. The next file which I require is the build spec.yaml file, so I will be adding a file here, and that's my build spec.yaml file. Okay, so I will just clicking on this one, commit the changes, and then I will be creating a new file called as index.html, and I will copying it here and pasting it there, right? Okay, and then I will be opening to this one, so I will be creating a particular project for as code build, and I will be moving on to ECS. I will be clicking on this one called as create cluster, so this will be my YT video cluster. Let's copy the cluster name, Fargate enabled, and click on create. Okay, so let's wait for some time in order to get it done. And it's currently in the provisioning state, so let's wait for some time. Yep, it's coming as active. Okay, and then I will be creating a new service, so service will be Fargate. So yeah, we need the task definition before the service, so let's create a new task definition. So this is the talks definition, keeping the same as the cluster name. Then again a new tab. Then I will be going here for creating a new container registry, that is the ECR. So I will be clicking on the button called as create, and then I will be giving the same as cluster name, but this time it will be the image. Okay. So then I will be clicking on the button called as create, copy the URI of the ECR and paste it here. And the name which you have to put it up here will be the container name. So I will be going back to this one, copy the container name and keep the container port number as this one, and I think we are good to go. So click on create. All right, so then click on create here as well, and then come here, attach that thing and make sure the division is 1. The service name should be, and let's make it cluster. So let's create on create, right? Cool. So it's currently in the progress. Let me just refresh the page. Okay, so let's go back to the whiteboard and let's understand what we have done till now. So we have first created the ECR. That's an image, right? So within the ECR we have got the URI. So that URI will be attached in the image or the talks definition, and that talks definition will be again attached to the ECS, will be again attached to the ECS, and yeah, to be very specific, in the ECS talks definition, and that is to be also be done in the what is to be called as the service, right? Sorry, got it. So just yeah, right. So that's all right. See, we have got the ECR and that's the URI. So from ECR we're getting the URI, and this URI we are copying and pasting in the container in the talks definition. And to be very specific, the talks definition is the input of the service, and later on we are having the cluster, that's the ECS cluster, right? So how is the architecture is going to look like? Take a look here. That means the first set of block is what we are doing is creating up the cluster. Within the cluster we will be having the service, right? Within the service we will be having the talks definition, right? And in the service and the talks definition, one common thing is to be required, that is the location of my that's the location of my repo, right? That's the ECR. So this is the URI which we are adding up there, and the ECR will be giving up the URI which we will be getting after creating up the private repository in the ECR service, right? Makes sense? So yeah, so this is the cluster, right? So cluster, all in all, we have got our deployment platform, right? Makes sense? So this became the deployment platform, and if you will be taking a look here, so this is the deployment platform. Okay, yeah, if this is the deployment platform, then what's the source here? Our source is Git, because hey, we have created a Git repo, right? Got it. And within the source and the deployment platform, we have to have something here that is called as the build, right? So that's the code build. And so this is we have done, and we are yet to do about the code build, and but our deployment platform is ready with the Fargate enabled cluster, that's the ECS. Okay, that's all. So let's go to the code build, right? So that's the code build. So I will be clicking on the create project button there, and just make it as YT video. Okay, and the primary source is the GitHub. The repository is ECR, ECS, ECR example, yeah. and I think we are done, right? So use the build spec.yaml file. So that's my YAML file there. Okay. Yep, I think we are done, right? Yeah, so let's click on build, create build project. So yeah, so one more thing we have to add up here is that, so after clicking on this, but let's see, means all in all the project is created. Project in the context, there is a code build project is created, right? So next thing is that we'll be moving forward with creating on the service role, right? So in the context of service role, what we'll be doing, please take a look. We'll be going to the policies and we'll be attaching the administrator, and then we'll be attaching the S3, and then we'll be attaching the CloudWatch. Okay, and we will be also be attaching the code pipeline. Okay, S3 full access, and these all the permissions which we have attached. Okay, so administrator, S3, code pipeline, a CloudWatch full access, and I don't think so we require, yes, we require one more thing, that is called our EC2 container registry full access, ECS full access. That's all. Alright, so I will just creating a screenshot and putting, I will be putting it right only. So these are the set of permissions which I have set of permissions to be attached in code build project. Okay, so that's the screenshot, and I think we are good to go now. Just check. Okay, fine, let's hide. Cool. So see, the ECR ECS is done. So now we'll be moving back to the build spec file, and let's change all the things whatever we have got here, right? So let's take it step by step. So first copy the ECR URI, and sorry, let's go to this one and click on view push commands. So get login password, and that's the first set of command, right? So replace that. Docker this one. After build complete, put up the tag. Docker push. And that's the name of the container, right? So what's the name of the container? Is the cluster YT video cluster. Put it on that side, and this is the image URI, right? So let's go back to this one, and image URI, image definition.json, and I think we are good to go, right? Yeah, so we will not commit this one now. So let's go to one more tab. That's of our AWS tab one more time, but this time we'll be going to code pipeline, and let's commit it now. So I click on the button called as create pipeline, and sorry, go to back, build custom pipeline. So YT video ECS superseded, and this is the role name. So click on next. The source provider will be GitHub, right? Yeah, no filters. ECS ECR, branch name main, click on next, code build, that's a project, import artifact, click on next, deployment provider will be the ECS, and click on next. Yeah, so this is the service role, right? So click on create pipeline. Okay, so it's currently in the source stage, so let's wait for some time. So it has started the build, right? So click on view details and let's check up the logs here. So it's running up the command get login. Okay, so that's all, the artifact has been uploaded. So it is, I guess it's now moving on to the next stage, and that's the deploy, right? Okay, let's wait for some time. I guess, okay, let's just refresh the page. Yeah, it's saying succeeded. Okay, let's wait for some time. It will be moving on to ECS, so let's wait for some more time. Yeah, so now it has moved into next stage, that is the deploy stage. Let's click on view details. It's currently in progress. Yeah, cool, it's done now, right? So yeah, so we'll be going to this one, ECS dashboard, right? And there we can see the deployment. Let's go to deployment. Yeah, 1 second. Events configuration. 1 second. 1 second. One second. I just always forgot that how to get the specific URL. Yeah, revision 2. Stocks execution at AWS. That's the port number. 1 second. Second. Yeah, here you got it, right? So open the public IP and that's the thing, right? So we have to go into the task and we have to go into the configuration, right? So that's all, right? So this is an sample example of CI/CD pipeline with AWS Fargate enabled. V1, V2, change 1, change 2, and that's again surprisingly the same change that what we have done in the index.html file. So this is the same example of the CI/CD pipeline with AWS Fargate enabled. V1, V2, change 1, change 2, and voila, we have got the same result here, right? So we have done the CI/CD and we have also seen the things that much needs to be done in the pipelining stage, right? So that's the source, that's the build, and lastly the deploy. And hey, that's the same thing which I have showed you in the whiteboard, right? So thanks for watching and let's catch up on the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.